Get up, get up. Try to roll out of bed, gotta get money. Shut up, shut up. Being broke is a joke, but it ain't funny. Ha, ha, ha. They were laughing at me when I had nothing. I was young back then in my own damn head. Don't lose yourself, we all got stress. You gotta feel blessed. Don't look around to see what got more.
Let me start off by saying, I used to love PayPal. Like, I used to love PayPal. I've had PayPal for about 12 years, give or take, okay? And I was the one that always used to defend PayPal. When people will tell me, oh, they suck, this, that. I would always defend them until recently when they stole $10,000 from me. And as you saw right there, this time, they messed with the wrong one. All right, no, seriously. All right. So, I have a small business, and I've had my business for 5 years, all right? And I work super hard. Like, I work Monday through Sunday, I don't know how many hours a day. And I use PayPal like a lot of small businesses do. And I used to use PayPal a lot more to receive money when PayPal was still hooked up with eBay. And after, I guess, eBay got their own payment system, I stopped using PayPal. I just didn't want to use PayPal anymore. And because I charge cards, I get wire transfer, I get checks, sometimes cash. For me, it was much easier to use those methods than PayPal. But I do use PayPal a lot to pay for things, like to my vendors, I don't know, anything. Like if I buy something off eBay or any other site that uses PayPal, I'll use PayPal to pay for things. A lot of money, like almost every day. So what happened is, oh, by the way, if you guys see hair on me, it's because I have a dog and he sheds a lot.
It's stressful, but not with Bob's Discount Furniture. I've got dining sets as low as $5.99.
Okay, let's get to how PayPal stole $10,000 from me and what I had to do. So about, I don't know, like a month and a half, 2 months ago, right? I made a big sale to one of my really close clients, and they're also my vendor. Like we're really close. I buy from them all the time. They don't buy from me much, but because they're really big, but I buy from them all the time. Okay. The sale was $34,000. $34,000. I sold some equipment, some products to them, and they told me that they have to pay with PayPal. I actually told them, hey, is there a way you guys could send me a wire or pay with credit card? They're like, no, we could either do net 30 wire. Net 30 means after they receive the products, they'll pay me in 30 days, or they could pay right now with PayPal. And I don't like I said, I'm a small business. I need the cash. And so I said, whatever, man, I'll take PayPal. I knew there was going to be a hold, but I didn't know this was going to happen, okay? So they paid me, of course, $34,000 went on hold. So I called PayPal. I'm like, hey, how can I get this money released? So they told me, tell your client to confirm the purchase on their end, meaning they received the goods and everything is okay, and we will release the money. So I called my client. Oh yeah, I forgot to say this. They actually told me about this confirmed thing. My client told me, they're like, hey, I know it's gonna go on hold, and once we pay, we could just confirm the purchase. So I called my client. I told them, hey man, can you guys confirm the purchase so they could release the money? They're like, yeah, of course. They don't. We're really close. Like I know them very well. They know me very well. They trust me. I trust them. So of course they confirmed the purchase on there, and a day later, $24,000 got released, and $10,000 was on hold, and it didn't look the same as a regular hold. It said reserve. So I look on the left side of my PayPal page. It says $10,000 reserve, and when I clicked on it, oh yeah, and then it says learn how to get your money. So I click on it. It said $10,000 on hold, and it said schedule for release, and it didn't give me a date. So I'm like, what the heck? So I called PayPal. I'm like, hey, this is what's going on. My money is on a reserve. I've never heard of this reserve. They're like, oh, you should have got an email. I'm like, no, I haven't got an email. So I asked them, I'm like, hey, like, how can I get my money? And then one person says, like, oh, we don't, in 2 weeks we'll get a release. No one in PayPal knows what they're talking about. Like, I don't want to say no one, but a lot of people, most people don't know what they're talking about. They're just trying to get rid of you. So I called again. Another person said, "Oh, don't worry, you'll get a release once, whatever, blah, 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 blah." And after a few times, I'm like, what is this, man? Like, I'm like, all right, I'll just wait a few days. So I waited a couple days. I called again, and someone said the same thing. Oh, we don't know. It doesn't really say. Just wait. Another. I called again. I hung up. I call again. They're like, oh, don't worry about it. You'll get it in 2 weeks. Blah blah blah. And it started getting frustrating. Like it was like a week passed, and I started getting frustrating. Like every day I would call, and like every day I would get the runaround. One person says, oh, you'll get it back. Don't worry. In 30 days. One person said 20 days. One person said 2 weeks. One person says you should get it soon. And I just didn't know what to do. I started doing some research on reserves. And some reserves said like it's a rolling reserve. After 30 days, you get a percentage of your money back. Like it was all over the place. So a few weeks passed, all right? After I kept calling a lot. I'm talking about every day calling and getting the same answer. Every day I would get the same exact answer. After a few weeks, I got frustrated. So I started making some videos on Instagram, tagging PayPal, saying you guys suck, this, that, blah. I will make a lot of videos on Instagram on my story. I'll be like, you guys are horrible, blah, 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 blah. And they answered me. They actually answered me on Instagram. They replied. After like me posting all this crazy stuff about them, how they're screwing me over, they're stealing money from me. And I was mad. This is a month later. Like this is literally a month later of like after they basically stole my money and like been on hold, and they kept giving me the runaround. I didn't want anything. So they replied to me. This lady replied to me. She says, hey, what's going on? So I tell her everything. I literally tell her everything. She goes, oh, let me get a manager. So she gets a manager. The manager comes on the in the messages and says, hey, what's going on? So I tell him, and then he goes, you should have received the email on what kind of hold or reserve your account's on. I'm like, I never received the email. I checked everything, my spam, everything. I never. So he goes, oh, what's your email address? So I tell him my PayPal email address, and he goes, send me a screenshot of your dashboard of your PayPal, and let me check your account through your email. So I sent him a screenshot of my dashboard, and I sent him my email. And after he checked out my email, my PayPal account, and the screenshot I sent him, this is what he told me. Based on the information in your screenshot, the $10,000 USD, is in what is called an upfront reserve, also known as a jumpstart reserve. Funds in such a reserve are not scheduled for release, and the money will be held over the lifetime of the account, so it can be available to cover potential losses. I'm sorry for any miscommunication on this topic, but I hope this helps. So basically, what he just told me is they are stealing $10,000 from me. Lifetime of the account means it's never going to be released. Look, funds in such reserve are not scheduled for release, which means they stole the $10,000 from me. And obviously, like, after I saw this, like, I was furious. Like, I was going nuts. I was furious. I kept DMing them. I kept like messaging back. I'm like, what are you talking about? And they stopped replying to me, and they would send me one of those automatic replies. Oh, we're not here, blah, 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 whatever. So I got pissed. I started making all these videos. I made a TikTok, and all these people I made TikToks, videos, reels, and all these people were replying with the same, with what happened to them. So basically, all these people, the same thing happened to them. So one person said they stole $75,000. One person said $3,000. One person says $5,000, and they will message me and tell me their story. And almost all of them, this is what I don't want to say got me scared, but almost all of them told me they had to get a lawyer. They had to get a lawyer to get their money out. So I was like, so every single person would tell me they had to get a lawyer, and someone told me like they couldn't pay for their uncle's funeral because PayPal was holding $8,000, so they didn't give him a proper funeral. I was just like, what is going on? I know PayPal screws people over. I've had PayPal for a long time, but I didn't know like this. I didn't know about these reserves and stuff. I've had regular holds, which, like I said, I've had PayPal for like 12 years. And regular holds are like 21 days, a month, and they release the funds just for chargebacks. But chargebacks don't take forever, lifelong of the account. How does that even make sense? So basically, all these people will tell me they had to get a lawyer. Okay, they told me they got a lawyer to get their money out, and once they got a lawyer and the lawyer sent them a letter or whatever, or called them or whatever, the money was released in 3 days. But like, how does that make sense? Why do I have to spend money to get out my own money? So like I said, like all these people will message me and comment and everything. Like I'm talking about a lot of people, man. Like they were just telling me their stories, and almost all of them told me that they had to get a lawyer. But like it doesn't make sense. Why do I have to pay money, right? It's gonna be a few $1,000s, right? To get out my own money that's mine, and they're just basically holding it for no reason. And I don't care that they said it's for chargebacks, potential losses. First of all, my client confirmed the purchase, okay? My client confirmed the purchase, which means it's good to go, right? That's one. Two, like I said before, chargebacks don't take forever, right? Chargebacks is 30 days, 40 days, not a lifelong, dude. That's stealing. But this is where it gets interesting, all right? So after this, I was really mad. I wasn't gonna, like the lawyer part was my last resort, all right? But someone else told me there's a government agency, it's called the CFPB, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, that helps people when they get screwed over by big companies like this, like credit cards, banks, like big companies like PayPal. When they screw over clients or consumers or whatever, they help. So I'm like, oh, nice. She told me, oh, just contact them. They'll take care of you. So I'm like, all right, I'll contact them in a few days. So I kept calling back PayPal, calling, and I was just mad. I was, like I said, this is a month after. So I was just calling. I didn't know what to do. Like, I was just thinking, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to keep calling. So after a few days of calling, I remember it was a Wednesday, okay? It was a Wednesday. I was working out upstairs, and I called, and I spoke to someone. She was a manager. She told me she was a manager. They all say they're managers. And then she pissed me off, man. I told her everything. I'm like, dude, this doesn't make sense, man. You guys are stealing from me. I'm a small business. I need money. This does not make sense. And you know what she told me? This is when I got really mad. I swear I was going to break everything. So she told me, oh, did you not read the guidelines? Oh, man, I lost it. So once she told me that, and I think she regret telling me that, because I said right after, I'm like, oh, so you're telling me if I go read the guidelines, it's gonna say you guys are gonna steal my money? And she didn't know what to say. She goes, like that. That's like, she was just like stuttering back. So I'm like, look, man, find me someone above you. I don't want to speak to a manager. If there's God, find me God. I want to talk to him, okay, or her. So she goes, oh, let me try to find someone that's above me. Let me try to find, I forgot what she said, whatever. So she goes, she puts me on hold for like 10-15 minutes, literally 10-15 minutes. She comes back, she goes, oh, I'm so sorry, I couldn't find anyone right now, but someone will call you in about an hour. So I'm like, oh, great, man, they're just gonna give me a runaround again. So I'm like, all right, cool, I'll wait. So an hour later, this lady called me. I don't want to say her name, but this lady called me. She was super nice. She was super nice. Like, I was like, wow, there's hope. So she was super nice, and I told her everything, and I was just like mad at this point. I'm like, look, this doesn't make sense. This is stealing. And then she was like, yeah, I'm so sorry about this. I don't want to badmouth the company I work for. She was a manager, like a high manager. She goes, I don't want to badmouth the company I work for, and this is not right. I'm going to make this right. I'm like, what the heck? So she said, this is what I'm going to do. She goes, tell your client to send me an email, right, saying we will never do a chargeback on me, like me. We will never do a chargeback. This order is good to go. We've known this guy forever. Tell her, and then she said, tell him to put the transaction date, the transaction ID, everything, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. And then she goes, this was a Wednesday. She goes, Thursday I'm not working. Friday I'm not working. Saturday I will get to work, and I will call you in the morning. And she goes, what time is good for me to call? I'm like, do it anytime. Call me at 10, 11. So she goes, yeah, I will call you and I will get your funds released. This is what exactly she told me. I'm not exaggerating anything. I'm like, are you sure? She goes, yeah. I'm like, how come you could do this and everybody else that I talked to, the other 40 people that are so-called managers couldn't do this. She goes, oh, I like to bend the rules and I go case by case. If I see someone is getting screwed over, I will help them out. I was like, are you sure? And I got really happy. I'm like, thank you so much. I'll send you a gift, stupid stuff like that. I'm like, all right. So I was really happy after this. So we hung up the phone. I waited until Saturday, all right? I woke up in the morning. I had a good feeling. I waited until, I still didn't believe it, but I waited until Saturday. I kind of had a good feeling. I came to work and I waited and I waited and I waited and I waited and I waited. I waited until about 2-3 p.m. and I was like, dude, this is nuts. And she promised me. She goes, I promise you, I will call you. I will call you. And I mean, what do you want me to say? Like, you want me to not believe her? Like, she promised me, you know? Like, I'm not saying whoever promises, like, they go with their word. But come on, man. Like, she promised me. She said, if you have your client sent the email. So obviously my client sent the email on Thursday. She will call me on Saturday, 10, 11 a.m. So I waited until like 3 p.m. and I called back. I don't know her. Like, I don't know her. They don't have direct numbers. You have to call that main number. So I call PayPal back and I'm like, I need a manager. I will tell them the story. I'm like, I need a manager. I need your highest up. I was mad. I'm like, I can't believe she lied to me. So I got a hold of a manager, whatever, so-called manager. And he told me, so I told him the story. I'm like, this lady, I need to talk to her. I need to find her. This is her name. And he goes, oh, I don't know where she is. She's not here right now. I can't find her. All lies. I guarantee you, all lies. So I'm like, look, I need you to help me. This is what happened. And he told me, oh, let me put your case on the highest priority. And they will release the funds within 1 day. I'm like, this was a Saturday. I'm like, so you're telling me, obviously Sunday, it's not a working day, but like, I'm like, so you're telling me Monday they're gonna release it? And he goes, oh, it might take up to 3 days, but they will release it. I'm like, are you sure? Like, I kept telling him, look, are you sure? Are you 100% sure? He goes, oh, I can't tell you 100%, but most of the time they will release it 1 to 3 days. I was so mad. Like, I was so mad that, look, this whole month I was posting stuff about them on Instagram, all right? So I'm like, all right, bro. I clicked and I didn't even post about them on Saturday. And I don't know if you guys remember, this was during the time when PayPal said they're going to fine people $2,500 if they post any misinformation, right? Like, who are you? Who's PayPal to judge, right? Who's PayPal to, how do you do that? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Obviously, they took their word back because they got so much backlash that they're like, hey man, this is the stupidest thing we've ever done. But that's how bad PayPal is, okay? They wanted to fine people $2,500 for misinformation. Who are you? Who are you? Seriously, who are you to say what misinformation is? Whatever. I was so mad on that Saturday that she didn't call me and I called that manager that I didn't even post on Instagram about PayPal. And when I say that, I'm saying that because I would post every day on Instagram about PayPal. Like, I needed to get my money out, man. Like I said, I'm a small business, man. To some people, $10,000 may not be a lot of money. To me, it's a lot of money, man. Like, I need the money, you know? Like, I have bills to pay, I have rent, I have so much stuff to pay, man. And I just come back from vacation, I spend a lot of money, you know? I need money, right? Like, everyone needs money, and that's my money. It's $10,000, it was my money. It wasn't PayPal's money. So whatever. I didn't do anything on Saturday about it. I didn't do anything Sunday, of course. Monday comes, I'm like, I gotta call back. This is probably like the 50, 60th time I'm calling back. So I call back, I'm like, guys, listen, this is what happened. I wasn't even like mad. I was just like hopeless. I'm like, give me your highest manager. And I forgot to say this, but I had contacted the CFPB, that government agency. You just fill out a form and you say what happens, okay? So I got in hold of a manager, okay? I got in touch with a manager, and the guy was from the United States. All the guys that I spoke to, or the girls, women that I spoke to, weren't in the U.S. So I got in hold. This is Monday, with a guy from the United States, and he told me he's a manager. I'm like, yeah, manager, I guess, whatever. And he said, look, man, I'm so sorry that you're going through this. I will do anything that I can to help you. I'm like, look, take this in a disrespectful way, but you're not the first person to tell me that, and I don't believe you. He goes, no, trust me, I got you. I will do anything that I can. I promise you I will do anything that I can. I'm like, all right, cool. Whatever, man. You'll do anything I can. Just like the other 50 people that told me that. Okay, so this guy, the latest manager that I spoke to that told me he's going to do everything he can. He took down a full report. And that day I was on the phone for 3 hours. I remember clearly. He took down a full report. He told me everything. He linked the email my client sent. He just linked everything. I have 2 PayPal accounts, and he linked all the PayPal accounts, and I proved, like, I showed him that how much money I spend on PayPal with this client that's also a vendor. And he's like, oh, that's good, let me link it. He wrote down a full report, and he told me this. He spent a lot of time on this. So he told me, look, it was Monday, remember. He goes, look, I did everything that's possible, all right? And this is what he told me. He's like, the manager that promised you that she will call you on Saturday doesn't even have the authority to release it. I was like, oh, great. Like, I'm like, look, man, I don't want to hear that, man. Just tell me what's going to happen. He said, look, I'm going to submit this, and they usually get back within 24 hours. At this point, I'm not believing anything. He said tomorrow, which is Tuesday, whether or not you get approved or denied, I will call you in the morning. I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, I've heard that before. So whatever. After 3 and something hours, I spoke with him. I hung up the phone. I was hopeless at this time. The next day, I waited in the morning. Guess what? He didn't call me. So the next morning, which was Tuesday, and he promised he'd call me. This is the latest manager. He didn't call me, and I was just so down. I was like, look, man, I'm not even gonna call back today. So Tuesday, I was just so mad. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, 3 managers lied. Like, are you kidding me? Like, what's wrong with you guys? So Tuesday, I'm like, look, dude, whatever, man. I was just working, this, that. This is taking like a few hours of my day, like every day, because I will call PayPal almost every day. Like almost every single day, I will call PayPal. So I didn't do anything Tuesday. Wednesday, I woke up, I checked my email. I saw my funds have been released. It said your funds have been released. I'm like, what? Like, I was so happy, but like, I couldn't believe it. I thought like I was in a dream. Like, I really thought I was in a dream. I was like, how's this possible? So I got out of bed. I went to my office, and I was just checking the emails again. I'm like, maybe I got it wrong. This guy called me. This one guy called me, a whole new person, all right? He was from Omaha or something, Nebraska. And he told me, like, he was in, like, the highest of highs, you know, like, up in the totem pole of PayPal. And he said, hey, I saw that I'm calling you because I see you having a problem, and I see that you contacted the CFPB. So I'm just calling you back to see what's going on. And at the same time, he was checking my account. But he said, oh, by the way, I don't think this is needed anymore because your money has been released. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, so what happened? Like, I don't understand. How did my money get released? Was it the CFPB or was it the guy, the last manager? He said, okay, well, he said, I haven't got it to the CFPB yet as far as like checking your case and stuff. So it was the last manager. I was like, dude, this is amazing, man. So whatever, man. We hung up the phone. And an hour later, the manager called me, the latest manager from Monday. I was like, dude, I got my money's released. Thank you so much. He's like, oh, I'm sorry I didn't call you on Tuesday. I just didn't want to call you with good news, even though I told you I'm gonna call you with whether it's good or bad news. I'm like, you know what? It's fine. You did a lot, blah blah blah. I thanked them a lot, whatever. And he gave me his PayPal ID number. So if anyone needs a good manager to talk to, if this happened to you, let me know. I'll put my email in the description and I'll send you a PayPal. But long story short, man. Long story short. Well, this has been a long story, but this is horrible from PayPal. I will never use PayPal again to receive money. Ever in a million years. Like I said, like I don't use PayPal to receive money a lot. Just this one time I had to. I charge credit cards. I get wire transfer, checks, cash, and for me, I don't want to tell you what to do, but it's not a good idea to use PayPal. I will never use PayPal to receive money. I will still use PayPal to pay for things, just not receive money, because this was horrible, man. We're small businesses. We work really hard. Like, I don't want to talk to everyone else but me. Like, I have cash, you know, like capital problems. I make good money sometimes, but not all the time. It's slow. I have rent. I have 3 warehouses that I pay for. I pay for a million things. So whatever money I make, I need it, you know? There's no point of holding it forever. Like, that doesn't even make sense. Look, from the beginning, if they told me, oh, we're gonna hold it for a month just in case of chargebacks, I would have understood, you know? I would have been like, okay, it's normal, man. Like, if they do a chargeback a month, I would have been okay with that. But as soon as they told me a lifelong hold, and they kept giving me the runaround, they kept lying to me, that's when I was like, dude, my money is gone. So it just sucks, and I know a lot of people have been going through this. Like, I've talked to a lot of people. Like, there's so many people that's been going through this. And if you guys need help, like, email me, and I will give you all the information that I can. But the one thing I will tell you is, if this happened to you, if PayPal is holding your money for no reason, call a lot. Call a lot until you get the right person. Like, in the beginning, I said they messed with the wrong person. And the reason I say that, because I'm crazy. I called a million times. There's people that are gonna call like a few times and just give up. That's what PayPal is hoping you do, is to call a couple times and give up. I didn't give up. And if this happened to you, you shouldn't give up. Call a lot until you reach the right person. They will help you out, man. It doesn't make sense holding people's money forever. Like I said, 2 weeks, a month for chargebacks is understandable. Forever is stealing. That's theft. So that's my story, man. Like I said, if you guys have questions, if you need help, if this has happened to you, email me. I will help you out. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel and put a thumbs up or something. But yeah, that was my story, man. Like, I hope whoever this happens to or has happened to, you guys get your money back. And because everyone works hard. And thank you for watching my video. Appreciate it. Till next time. Peace.
We all got stress, you gotta feel blessed. Don't look around to see who got more, just know who got less. Don't work too hard, you gotta work smart.